Hello, good evening, guys. How are you all doing? Cool. Rizio, good evening. Robert White, Brent George, Inquisition Tabletop. Good evening, guys. I hope you're well. I'm doing pretty well today, actually. I am exhausted, but I am doing well. I built a play kitchen for my daughter this afternoon, and honestly, it took me 3 hours. So, kind of exhausted. I'd wanted to get into these infiltrators because I did just buy some more. These are the first units. Foster, hi from Mexico, hi from Scotland, right back at you. These are the first models I've bought in forever, it feels like. Infiltrators, which I'm going to make as incursors. So that is these little weapons here. And the knives, probably. Incursors tend to have knives. So I'm going to make 5 of these at some point. I'm not sure if we're going to make them on this stream, but we'll see. I'm going to start with a bit of painting. Like I said, I am kind of exhausted today, so if I'm struggling with my painting, I'm going to make some intercessors. I had to buy some models because I had that £5-10 voucher free from Games Workshop, so they were the models that I ended up buying. And I need to have 3 colours on a few of these things for this tournament next weekend, so I'm going to glue a couple of models to start with, and then we're going to paint a few things. Thanks for being here, thanks for hanging out as always. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be from, and hey Martin, thanks for tuning in tonight. Cool. So I have a GT next weekend, so this is why I'm, like my painting schedule, I guess what I've been painting is all over the place because of this GT. So now that I know, I had to submit my list for the GT yesterday. Good evening, Asylum. So yeah, I submitted my list yesterday, and my list is pretty much the list I played against the Orcs on Monday, just past. What I did was I dropped 1 Terminator and picked up an extra squad of Incursors. So I have 2 squads of Incursors and a squad of Tech Marines. Tech Marines, I wish. No, a squad of Servitors, sorry. So Servitors to perform actions, they can go into reserve with my Assault Intercessors, and I think Incursors are great because of guerrilla tactics. It makes it very easy to score stuff like retrieve Octarius data with them. I'm trying to pick out some blue tack. Am I happy with the Volcanites? I mean, I don't know if you saw the game against the Orcs, but in 1 round of shooting, one of my Volkites did 7 mortal wounds. A 10-point weapon that does 7 mortal wounds at 45 inches. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's I'd say it's borderline broken, overpowered. But, I mean, other people are taking broken and overpowered stuff to the Grand Tournament, so why would I not do that as well? Rizio spent his voucher on Octarius. I'm drawing a blank, Rizio. What is Octarius? Oh, is it a war zone or something? With a house move and stuff, I must admit, I have... we're still not all unpacked. We've been here for, 2 or 3 weeks now. I must admit, I'm still probably out of the loop on any new releases. Robert is working on intercessors. Sorry, Inceptors tonight. What guns did you choose for your Inceptors, Robert? Did you go with the did you go with the Salt Bolters with like me, or are you a Plasma man? I think both are good. I think both have merit. Warzone Octarius, I did a review of it, lol. I haven't watched... The last video I watched of yours, Rezio, was the one with you walking through the forest. And I did watch most of that one, but I haven't seen anything since. That's the thing with YouTube though, right? I am subscribed to you, but it didn't appear in my newsfeed. Because I guess the YouTube algorithm likes to... I don't know. The YouTube algorithm has a mind of its own, doesn't it? I've done videos that I thought would do great, and they've done shit. I've done videos that I thought would be shit, and they've done great. There's almost no rhyme or reason to it. I just need to glue on this one Terminator, well, these two Terminator arms, the Sergeant and the Assault Cannon. I have them with the bolters. Nice, Robert. I like them with the bolters. I'm kind of sad that I don't have them in this army list for this tournament, because in the last tournament they did some serious work for me with the bolters. They're just always able to arrive. They're always able to kill things. I like them a lot. Or I mean, it's not a past tense thing. I still like them a lot. I just haven't managed to fit them into this army list, I guess. I wanted to, but I guess taking a battalion kind of limits how many fast attacks and elites and all this nonsense. I'm not the hugest fan of battalions, honestly. I mean, I'm running them, but I'm still not the hugest fan of them, I guess. I'm going to start with a little bit of brass paint, I think. Brass Scorpion is usually where I go for brass, or dark brown. When you're a small channel, you might as well be invisible, sometimes even to your subscribers. You know what? I feel like that sometimes with my 7,000 subscribers, Rizio, so I wouldn't don't get bummed out about it. The thing about YouTube is you just have to keep going, be consistent, and things will happen for you, you know? Good evening, Oscar. How you doing? I was actually thinking, Rizio, if you'd like, I don't know if you would like, I mean, there's no pressure to do it if you don't want to do it. You could come on my channel sometime on voice chat, or even on camera if you'd like. And I don't know if you have a good webcam, but it seemed like you have a pretty good phone camera, I guess, or I don't know what you're filming your YouTube videos on. But I'm sure there's a video that we could work out. Like, for example, one that I thought that you might be useful for, because you're usually very knowledgeable when it comes to armies and stuff, is for example, like this weekend at the GTMOA2, there are obviously everybody I think has now submitted their army lists. So if you'd like, an easy video that we could do together would be like, you could come on my channel with your camera. We could run over the army lists of, like, you know, we probably wouldn't run over all 30, I think, because it's a 30-man GT, but we could run over like 10 of them, what we think are interesting, or we could just run over the first 10, or we could just pick 10. We could talk about it in the end of the video. You can plug your channel or something like that, because you help me out by giving me a video, so I'll help you out by giving you a plug on the channel, you know, that sort of thing. I did that with Origin before, like, and that's what I said before. No one helped me when I started on YouTube, and I would have loved some help, so if I can help other people, I'm happy to help a little bit. So I tend to do these wires in Brass Scorpion. It's probably kind of a boring color, you know, like a lot of people probably paint these wires like I've seen people paint individual wires like blue and red and yellow, and they all look very cool. But for me, it's a bit more, I don't have the accuracy to, like, I literally couldn't paint each wire an individual color if I wanted to. I am not that good of a painter. So I will paint these wires Brass Scorpion, which will give them like a dark copper look, I guess, to them, and then I'll shade them with like Nuln Oil. I'll be pretty liberal with the Nuln Oil as well, so really get into all the depths and crannies, and then you just get sort of like old, rusted, gnarly looking wires. And I like Brass Scorpion with Nuln Oil. I think it's very easy By the way, I've got my Librarian and Phobos armor's paint removed completely. Congrats. Did you buy some special paint remover, or what did you end up doing? You just paint them black so don't feel bad? Okay, well, I'll give you a trick. This is an easy way to do it as well. D-King is paint them brass scorpion and then just give them a coat of Nuln Oil, and they'll just look like sort of weathered copper wiring, I guess. Which maybe makes sense, right? I don't know, but that's how I do it anyway. I kind of focus on like silver, gold, brass, and red. And I know brass is technically sometimes a bit of a corn color, but as long as you don't go too heavy on the brass, you know, like just this odd bit of wiring or an armor plate trim or something like that, I think it works fine. Hello Nick, in game, how you doing? Exposed wires feel dangerous. I imagine them with a plastic coating. Yeah, they probably. Mind you, in the 40,000th millennium, they're in a state of eternal war. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe they don't have time to paint those wires with plastic coatings. They just have them raw and exposed, you know. But yeah, okay. I mean, probably you're right, Reziel. It's probably too short notice to think about for this week. But I don't actually even know if I would have time to record that video this week anyway. But I guess my point stands. If there's something that comes up that you think we could do together, hit me up and we'll do it. But I'm kind of hopeful for this grand tournament, you know that? I do need to have a look at lists and see what horrible AdMech stuff is there, and I know Andrew's got his horrible buggies list. But I'm feeling pretty good about my list. I felt like my list was pretty good before with the double Redemptors, and I honestly think it's a bit stronger with the double Contemptors. The Contemptors they're so reliable damage-wise, like. It's a little bit sad that the Contemptor will like reliably outdamage the Redemptor and has like an extra 13 inches of threat range. Sure, it doesn't do melee, but like, I guess you kind of don't need it to do melee in a Blood Angels army. And I mean, I've charged against the Tau list last week. I'd just charge and kill Fire Warriors with the Contemptor or something. Like it can still kill things in melee. It's not totally useless. Still -1 AP once you get to turn 3 and like 6 attacks, so strength 7 with +1 to wound, so you're probably going to wound most things on 2s or 3s, so you're going to do a little bit of damage in melee. I really like the Contemptor Dreadnoughts. I stayed away from them for a long time, but yeah, I probably should have switched to them sooner. Maybe I've got 5-0 in that last tournament. I think it would be good to have you putting up your results to help the Blood Angels meta. What do you mean by putting up your results? Like, you mean just sharing how we do in the tournament, or something else? Sorry. Good evening, Mark. How you doing? Hope you're well. If any of you guys in chat don't know, we have our first episode of our Grots Go Deep podcast out now, which was me, Tony, and Mark. Which were Tony and Mark were the guys that helped me out on the tier list videos. So if you enjoyed the tier list videos and you like to see the three of us chatting shit about, well, not just chatting shit, well, probably just doing a lot of shit talk, but also talking about miniatures and general Warhammer on hobby things, then our first episode of Grots podcast is out. You can find that. And if you can't find it, I will put a link in the chat and you can find it that way. Or Mark can put a link in the chat maybe. And if you can't find it, then what we can do is... No, sorry. And if you do find it, we've got one episode out, and we've got the second episode coming out this Thursday night. So probably we're gonna have like a bi-week schedule release on the Grots Go Deep podcast. And I don't know why I keep calling Grots Go Deep, because that's not the name of the podcast. That's just the weird phrase that that Tony kept saying, like, the podcast is 3 grots in a vox. And episode 1 is out now. Episode 2 will be coming out this week, and we've also planned out our next 3 or 4 episodes, so stay tuned to that as well. So if you like that sort of stuff, the grots, the 3 of us talking about not just 40k. I mean, we're going to end up talking a lot about 40k for sure, but talk about some other cool games that are available now as well. I've actually got a pre-order on that re-release of Hero Quest, Mark. So when the re-release of Hero Quest finally comes out, I will want to talk about it. Apparently it's in the UK now because it was like a Kickstarter, or well, it wasn't quite a Kickstarter, it was like a Hasbro, I don't know what you would even call it. It was Kickstarter, but direct from Hasbro or something, because Hasbro were the guys that had the license for Hero Quest originally. I think it used to be MB Games, Milton Bradley Games, but I think they maybe folded, or Hasbro bought them or something like that. Someone in chat probably knows. Yeah, we'll keep people guessing on what's in episode 2, but episode 2 is definitely better than episode 1. So if you enjoyed episode 1, you should subscribe, because episode 2, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing in episode 1, to be honest. But now we kind of know a little bit. Hasbro crowdfunding, that was the one, yeah. So it's basically Hasbro, which were the publisher, just seeing if there was enough interest in Hero Quest to re-release it. And it's funny, you know what, I was speaking to my wife's brother. It was my daughter's birthday today, so everybody was over to give her presents and stuff like that. And I was speaking to my wife's brother, and we were talking about Hero Quest, because he's ordered it was like £159 in the UK, but it's like Hero Quest and all the expansions, or Hero Quest and a bunch of the expansions. And I was saying to him, like, I used to have Hero Quest and the Wizard expansion and the Ogres expansion, and I think my dad either put it to a charity shop or like a car boot sale for like $5. And I was like, on eBay now, it's like gold dust. If you had the original Hero Quest and like both expansions, that's like $500. And I guess, like, yeah, my dad didn't know what he was doing and just wanted to clear some space in like a cupboard and just threw it on a charity shop, I think. Hasbro has spent the last 10 years buying everybody up. Yeah, it's kind of a strange one though, the Hero Quest brand, right? Because Hero Quest, although it was an MB game, it was Games Workshop, right? It was very, very early. Like at that point, what year did Hero Quest come out? Because yeah, Milton Bradley also did Space Crusade. That's right, Mark. So they must have done like a deal with Games Workshop to produce, kind of like how they're doing, you know, like how I guess a little bit how like nowadays they do, you know, like Warhammer Monopoly or whatever third-party stuff they're doing. So they must have, in the very early days, they must have done these 2 deals, one for Space Crusade, one for Hero Quest, and there was actually video games for both those games. If you've never played the Hero Quest video game, I love that video game. The music from it, I mean, it's so old school, but at the same time, it's just brilliant. I love the Hero Quest video game. Used to play it all the time. I remember the TV ads for the Hero Quest. Yeah, I remember some of them as well. It was like ages 10 and up. We still submit your latest list through the community post. Absolutely, D-King. That is where you would submit a list. Where did I get this Dreadnought? Andrew printed this for me for $5. So like, I think he said it cost $5.68 or something. But typically, my other Redemptor is from Forge World. It's £38 for a Redemptor from Forge World, and a it's £38 for the Blood Angels Redemptor from Forge World, I guess, and it's ever so slightly different. This is a 3D print, but it's still got lots of little Blood Angels bits on it, so it's not bad. I actually need to find like a lighter paint here as well to do some of these bits, but I'm gonna start with some of these gems, or the blood drops, I guess, and paint some of these a different colour. The best thing about Hero Quest is the gargoyle. Maybe I need to do a best thing about Hero Quest video, huh? But I can't wait to get Hero Quest. I will probably end up sitting on it like for 5 years, because I don't know anyone that's going to play it with me. Maybe we could play it some night on Plastic Crackheads. That might work. The reason that we called the Plastic Crackheads channel like nothing to do with Warhammer 40k specifically was so that we could play some other games on it from now and then. I'm actually a huge fan of Imperial Assault. I don't know if anyone in the chat has played that, but I really like Imperial Assault. John and I each own a ton of Star Wars Imperial Assault, so we'll probably talk about that at some point. I own every single model for Imperial Assault, all the expansions, all the individual characters, everything. There's a girl I kind of like. Her last name is Bale. Is it a sign of the Emperor or Sanguinius? I mean, I don't know if it's a sign, brother, but if you like her, I honestly think honesty is the best policy, man. So just find a way to tell her. Don't fuck around. If you go through life thinking that honesty is the best policy, you'll have a good life, because I always find that if you're honest, then you just never get into sticky situations. So yeah, good luck, but just go tell her, man. That's the way to do it. And I guess assume it is a sign of the Emperor. I want a bunch of Imperial Assault, but I really need to get rid of it. Oh man. I suppose if you're not a huge Star Wars fan. See, I like the original Star Wars trilogy. That's where my Star Wars, like when I was growing up, the 3 original movies were like my favourite movies. I loved them all. I don't really care for any of... do you know what? I sort of liked the Clone Wars, and I sort of liked Rebels, but like I guess I don't care for much of the new live action stuff. Mandalorian was okay. I kind of enjoyed that. It was nice to see Luke again. I'd rather just see a series about Luke, to be honest. If you like that Hero Quest game, you should check out the Gloomhaven one. It's very much in that vein. Yeah, do you know what? In some ways, Descent is very much in the same vein as Hero Quest, and if you want to say that Descent is in the same vein as Hero Quest, then Imperial Assault is in the same vein as Hero Quest as well, because Imperial Assault actually uses the rules from Descent, right? Like I think Imperial Assault uses the 2nd edition rules from Descent. So, and Descent is very much like a dungeon crawler like Hero Quest. So I guess I just sort of like RPG style board games as well, where you like get a character and you like play over the course of like a couple of evenings. I mean, I know you can do that online in video games and stuff like that, but here's the thing, like, if you go play World of Warcraft, you're going to be playing World of Warcraft for the next 10 years or something. Whereas like with Imperial Assault, you can get a few friends together and you can play it over a couple of nights. I want to hear about anything you guys have actual experience with. Star Wars is cool. Infinity Battletech. So I have 2 armies for Star Wars Rebels. Not Rebels. I've got it right behind me. What the fuck is it called again? Star Wars Legion. This. These guys are like Mandalorians with jump packs. Do you know what? Why am I showing it to the small camera? Why not just show it to the big camera? This is Star Wars Legion. These are Clan Ren units. And I have a lot of Legion. Legion battles are around 800 points. Oh, shit. So, like, if you think, yeah, so they're around 800 points for a battle in Legion, and I guess they're a bit like, I mean, it feels a lot like 40k. It just feels like more of a skirmish game. Like, it's smaller scale units. 800 points in Legion is like one character, 2 troop choices, like maybe like 1 elite choice and like 1 vehicle choice or something. Jaegerbomb coming in with a $5 super chat. Hello Jaegerbomb, good evening, how are you doing? With Horus Heresy getting new plastic models, are you thinking about having an Angel's Army for that era? Already got dreadnoughts and tanks for it. Do you know what? You're probably right. We probably could make a Horus Heresy army fairly easily. I've already got like Leviathan dreadnoughts, and I've got enough Firstborn dreadnoughts. And I probably have enough tactical marines as well, to be honest. There's been some people saying like the new box doesn't make sense. Like there's a rumor that it's going to include like the Spartan Tank, right? And I actually think the Spartan is a cool tank. If the box includes the Spartan, that would be great. I don't own a Spartan. I already own 2 super heavy tanks, but the Spartan's an interesting choice, right? Because it like you can use it in 40k as well, and I believe it has a troop capacity of 20 models. So you could fit like, I guess 20 Death Company with no jump packs in there, or even 10, like a whole Death Company with jump packs in the Spartan tank. I think a Spartan tank would be cool. And the one thing to say about doing Forge World is that the resin is a pain. Like, it's such a pain because you've got to get it off the sprues, you've got to clean it, you got to glue it together, and half the time it doesn't stick well, and the quality of the resin never feels as good as the new plastic kits. Like, the new plastic kits are honestly kind of a dream to work with compared to like resin kits, right? So, if the new Horus Heresy box comes out, regardless of the price, even if it's like a couple of $100, I guess I'm probably going to be quite interested. I have quite a bit of a backlog of models that I'm doing at the moment, but like it probably feels like too good an opportunity to pass up. And then I guess that gives you a new game system to play as well. I actually don't know if you're going to get like the core rulebook or how they're going to do it. I've only really heard the rumors, but it would be nice if they did some more stuff with it. And I suppose that means if we did ever play Horus Heresy, I suppose as Blood Angels you'd actually be able to field Sanguinius for a change, right? So that would be pretty cool. Good evening, Aaron. How are you doing? Gloomhaven is basically D&D, where the game itself is the DM, not a cheap tabletop game, but the value of money is huge given how much mileage you get from it. I've heard a lot of people speak about Gloomhaven. I haven't actually played it myself, but do you know, I haven't played as much Imperial Assault as I wanted, because I got it like maybe just a month or 2 before the pandemic sort of started kicking in, so yeah, it's board games of multiple people I just haven't been playing for the last like year, I guess. And it's all down to the pandemic. Like, it's different, I think, just playing like one-on-one at 40k or something. That doesn't feel too bad, but like I honestly can't remember the last time we had like 6 or 8 people together to play a board game. Like it must be like 2019 or like early 2019. It just hasn't happened because of COVID, really. There's not too much else to say except COVID has sort of slowed everything down for a bit. Howdy, Marcus. Good evening. £240 is the price of the box for Horus Heresy. I find that strange that they would go so high, right? The Mandalorians looks... Yeah, I mean, it is strange that it's like, because Games Workshop stuff is even more expensive in America and then even more expensive in New Zealand, in Australia. So if it's £240 UK, then like it's going to be insane for people in Australia and America, right? Like it's going to be... like 300 to 400, maybe even 500 in Australia, because I think Australia is like they just have to pay a lot for Games Workshop stuff in Australia. I think it's partly the exchange rate isn't great, but I think partly just shipping, because I think the models are made in the UK, right? So they got to ship them basically halfway around the world. That's hard, I guess. Or that's expensive. Maybe not hard. I mean, you could ship stuff anywhere, but yeah, it's probably just expensive to ship stuff halfway around the world, right? So, 240 points for a Horus Heresy box. I mean, I'd like it. I'm going to be... I don't know. I know it's a specialist game, so they can charge a bit more, but 240 seems like maybe a tiny step too far, right? But who knows? I mean, people obviously buy all the new releases and stuff every month. Every time there's a new release, people buy them. So, Jaegerbomb, think that Sanguinius will come back in some way, shape, or form in 40k. He spoke to Dante and Mephisto. And yeah, I mean, I guess spoiler. If you haven't read in Darkness in the Blood, yes, that's the name of the book. If you haven't read In Darkness in the Blood by now, you really should, because at the end of Darkness in the Blood, Dante wants to undergo the Rubicon, right? And Mephiston basically says that he can't. Well, I don't think it's Mephiston, is it? It's the other members, the other high members of like the Blood Angels Council, whatever they're called again. Basically say like, Dante, you're too valuable, you can't go through the Rubicon. But at the same time, Dante in that book, it's hinted at like he's dying essentially, because like he's got wounds and his wounds aren't healing. I think that was kind of where that book ended. So I think probably what needs to happen is, and maybe, you know, like the Blood Angels books are like 2 years apart, and the last one was probably a year ago right now. I actually want to check. When was Darkness in the Blood released? Darkness in the Blood release date. So Darkness in the Blood was released the 17th of August 2021. Surely not. No, it wasn't only released 4 months ago, was it? Someone tell me when Darkness in the Blood was released, because Devastation of Baal was released in November 2017. It wasn't 4 years. Oh, it was released on paperback 4 months ago. That doesn't count. When was it actually released to read? Or November 2020. Yeah, okay, so it was a year ago now. And there was 3 years between Devastation Baal and Darkness in the Blood. Okay, so maybe, I mean, if they just keep that in the book before that, the actual Dante book was released. When was the Dante book released? Or someone tell me when Dante was released. Because it says March 2017 in here. I mean, it could be March 2017. I don't know. I felt like there was a bigger break between Devastation and Baal and Dante. First edition was released March 2017. Okay, so there was just 6 months between Dante and Devastation and Baal. But then there was 3 years between Devastation and Baal and Darkness in the Blood. Astrath was the most recent one, which was a limited release a year ago and is due for general release soon. Do you know what? I've not read Astrath. So I kind of need to get the Astrath book and read that. But Dante was a good prequel, and you know, I really enjoyed Devastation. I enjoyed all three of those books. What is yours and the chat's favourite Blood Angel successor, non-Seth or Dante Chapter Master? Because I'm 3D printing a BA Chapter Master, I'm wondering who to paint up next. I mean, I prefer the generic Chapter Master on a bike. That's the one I love. I made my own one, and I gave him like a Reaver head. I've got a photo of him I can show you. Give me 1 second. GW, where did I put them? Photos, maybe? I put them in my... I really need to clean up my I really need to clean up my folders for working on YouTube at some point, because I just have things everywhere. Yeah, where is he? Let me show you this guy. This is my custom chapter master. I think I have 2 photos of him, one from each side. And this bike he's on was actually the old chaplain on a bike model, because this is the wings on that chaplain on a bike model, you know, the guy that went Legends. And then this bit here is the thing that I guess I've kind of put on as like a hub guard or whatever you would call it with the X. This is a bit off a Death Company Dreadnought. And then at the back there, you can just see it sticking out. I think I have the winged part of a Ball Predator on the back there as well. And then the Reaver head, and obviously the Infernal Pistol. This is a Sangori Guard arm with the Infernal Pistol, so that you can hold on to the bike as well. So my favourite chapter master at the moment is this guy on a bike. I guess he isn't any particular successor, like he's just my... I use him rather than use Dante, honestly. I think he's better than Dante, but you know, there's mixed feelings about that. Some people love Dante. I actually don't think he's that strong in 9th edition. I'm going to GT next week, and I'm taking my custom chapter master on a bike. I'm not running Dante at all in my list. But yeah, everybody's got their own opinions, I guess, on is Dante good or whatever. Very few people bought Astrath. It was one of those limited editions. I don't think it was very few people bought it, Mark. It was just out of stock, like, so quickly. It came out the same day the Blood Angels Codex came out, and I've never had a collector's edition Codex before. So I was like dead set on getting the collector's edition Codex, because I was like, you know, I'm now doing this Blood Angels channel, I should have a collector's edition Codex. In hindsight, I don't know if the collector's edition Codex is worth it. All you get is a different cover art and, like, you know, like a ribbon that like keeps your page. The book's only 67 pages. I don't really think you need the ribbon to keep your page. But yeah, so I bought the collector's edition Codex, and honestly, I don't know if it was worth it, but I guess my point was that I was so keen to buy the collector's edition Codex, I forgot that the Astrath book was releasing that morning, and by the time I remembered, like an hour later, it had just sold out. So everybody was ready to buy that Astrath book. So I think it's more that just lots of people bought it, or bought the collector's edition, as opposed to like nobody got it maybe. Now I'm gonna have to do that with a bike. You should Epic Cage. The one on the bike, the Chapter Master on the bike, I think he's awesome. He's so strong. The Lamenters, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have love for Lamenters. Someone in chat tell me why people love Lamenters so much. Because, you know, it always seems like there's a lot of people that like the Lamenters as a successor chapter. Is it just like the yellows, or there must be something that I'm missing? Because I've always just been a main chapter kind of guy, I guess. So, but maybe that's just because I'm a slow painter. And where in the timeline? So, Mark, have you read the book, the Astrath book? If you got a copy of it, tell me if you've read it. Where does it? If you have read it, where does it sit in the timeline? You know, compared to, because Astrath wasn't really in any of the other books, right? Devastation of Baal or Dante or Darkness in the Blood. He was always supposed to be away fighting somewhere else. So does it follow him there, or is it just out of the timeline? It's somewhere completely different. Good evening, Highland Phoenix. How you doing? Hope you're well this fine Saturday night. I am tired as all shit, but I am well. I had to build like a friggin' play kitchen this afternoon. You should have seen the instructions for it. It was ridiculous. Kids' toys these days are no joke. It took me over 3 hours to build this thing, and the instructions were terrible. No one in the history of mini painting has ever enjoyed painting yellow, says Brent. Well, I was gonna say, if people hate yellow so much, why do they like lament? Why do so many people like lamenters? Or is it like a bit of like a challenge? Like people enjoy the challenge of painting an army in yellow that they know is just going to be a nightmare to paint, but they're like, don't worry, I've got this. I can make the yellow work. The Astor novel is set post-Devastation of Baal. It's not specifically exactly when it's set, but it seems to be concurrentness with Darkness in the Blood. Okay. So that'll be a cool book to get our hands on when it comes out, I guess. I finally finished Solar War, so I'm pleased about that. I've been reading that book probably for like 6 months. You know when you get a book and sometimes you're just not into it, but you're so far into the book, you're like, I just need to finish this book so I can move on to another book. So I finally finished Solar War. It definitely was not my favorite. I got bogged down in it, but it was okay, I guess. My successors is Angel's Vermilion. I kind of enjoy yellow myself. Lamenters were the 21st cursed founding. Dante doesn't like my successor chapters since we like to eat our serfs every 50 years or so. Do you know what? Didn't Dante kind of eat his... was it his serf in Darkness of the Blood? Or his... it was like his servant? I can't remember his exact name. But I'm pretty sure Dante kind of ate his servant in Darkness of the Blood. I mean, I think his servant was pretty old, but still. His troll sacrificed himself because he was old and felt Dante needed the blood to be fresh for an upcoming fight. Yeah, that's right. And I think it did, like, it did reinvigorate Dante a bit, didn't it? But we're still kind of... Are we still to believe that, like, Dante's days are numbered? Is that where we are in the lore? And if it is so, then... I mean, that's fine, if his days are numbered. I think it would be good, like... I really think they were kind of... Our characters in 9th edition, like our special named characters, like they didn't get as much love as they deserved, I feel like, with the new Codex. You know, like everything from Dante, you know, all the way through to Primaris Mephiston. Like Primaris Mephiston doesn't have a +1 to cast when he's supposed to be one of the greatest psychers in the Imperium, you know, stuff like this. It definitely feels to me that like our named characters weren't given quite the attention that they deserved in 9th edition, but you know, maybe that'll come around in 10th or something. Who knows when 10th will be, considering we're like 18 months into 9th and they've not released all the codexes yet, so... But hopefully 10th is maybe a bit closer and they can get rolling a bit faster. I guess we'll find out. Dante is our golden savior. Is he? I mean, he needs an upgrade. I found Solar War really dull and slow going too. The only reason I slogged through most of the Siege of Terror books is to get the end and read Sanguinius v Horus one time only. Yeah, I mean, that's why I've been reading Siege of Terror, right? To get that epic fight at the end. But yeah, I mean, the Siege of Terra series, like, I don't know, I found it's weird. I enjoyed the start of Solar War a lot, but like probably like the last third of the book just kind of got a bit slow and predictable, I guess. I use the captain on the bike, like mine. Yeah, you should make a captain on a bike. They're so fun on the tabletop. Mine like never dies. It's almost like a trap. If the enemy try and fight, you know, if the enemy go after my captain, it's almost like a good thing. The amount of times people go after that captain and fail to kill him is crazy. Warhawk has been good. What is Warhawk, sorry? Is that one of the Siege of Terra books? Don't tell me that, Mark, that only book 4 was good. So I have to read through like 3 more shitty books. Blood Angel's commander, I have a theory. He's going to get in a fight on the Vengeful Spirit, but then get rescued by the soul fragments left by Sanguinius. Thoughts? I mean, Dante keeps having those visions, right? Where like he sees a golden warrior protecting the emperor or something like that. And he kind of thinks the golden warrior is him. There's going to be something. There's got to be something. I mean, the way it worked with Mephiston is they released the new model first, and then the Darkness and the Blood book came after, which made him Primaris, right? So, like, hopefully they can release a new model maybe in the next year or something, and then they would release the book that, like, says why he's now different or whatever. But you know, maybe a year is sort of wishful thinking. There's a lot of factions they still need to get through for 9th, and for whatever reason we kind of, I don't want to say we got ignored for 9th edition, but we kind of did. How's it going, Lucky Jim? Good evening. I'm doing well, thanks. Warhawk is book 6. Alright, so book 4 and book 6 are good. Alright, Reziel, take it easy. Have a good night. It's not a good sign if out of 6 books, only 2 of them are good, though. I don't know if I can cope with another really slow book right now. Sometimes once you finish a slow book, like, I just go for something completely different. So I jumped in and I started reading a Star Wars book that I've had for like, I don't know, probably like 5 years at this point that I've never read. And like I'm on chapter 6, I think. And it's actually pretty good. So I was like, oh cool, okay. I'm gonna read this book and then maybe I'll come back to the next book in the Siege of Terra, but yeah, it's annoying. Like, it's annoying to know that Sanguinius will fight Horus probably in the Siege of Terra books, but like we have to read 10 books to get to the fight, I guess. I'm going to start using Halfords Grey Primer for models. I've heard a lot of people talk about Halfords Grey Primer. It's very cheap and apparently it is very good. I mean, I don't think there's anything necessarily special with the Citadel paint, Lucky Jim, so if you want to use Halfords Primer, I mean, by all means use it. I believe Andrew's definitely used it for models before as well. And Andrew's models look fine enough, you know, once they're on the battlefield or whatever. Dante dies protecting against the fleet, the High Fleet. So what was the state of the High Fleet then? Because on Devastation of Val we like killed a tendril of the High Fleet, right? and then in Darkness and the Blood, they were like kind of going out to attack other parts of the Tyranid fleet, right? That was kind of the plan. But like, I guess the main Tyranid fleet is still just on course for like the solar system and Earth and all those sort of worlds, and like even though we saved Baal and killed a shit ton of biomass, it doesn't matter. The Tyranids are still on their way, right? I read Harry Potter's after reading Fulgrim. Alright, I'm not going to go as far as reading Harry Potter's, but I do. It is nice to sometimes try and read something a bit lighter after you've been in pretty deep, I guess. Alright, I need a... I was going to say, I need a paint for these wings. Some sort of very light grey or white, which I don't have here. Give me just 1 second. I'm probably going to get some sleep before heading out to Manchester. What are you doing in Manchester, Lucky Jim? Warhawk had a surprising amount of time on Blood Angels and Iron Fists. Iron Fist, Imperial Fist. Sorry, I'm tired tonight, like I said. I was drinking earlier as well. Started drinking at like noon today, so... Angels Vermilion are shunned by the rest of the Blood Angels, and we live our curse in private, so I'd imagine that our chapter master would be a hardened man and arrogant. I can see in my head someone older, Zod from newer Superman. I thought they were cleaning up the leftover bugs on the planets. Yeah, I think you're right, Levi. They broke off, didn't they? And they were killing. Well, they weren't just killing the bugs. I guess they were. It wasn't just bugs. I guess it was like that show, the Hive. I don't even know what you call them. Like the splinter fleets or splinter cells or something. They were going after those and trying to like mop them up with. All through the sector, I think, and I guess that's when Dante becomes Lord Imperial Nihilus, and like he's tasked with killing any bugs probably in the whole sector. There's a separate second fleet that's coming for oh yeah, I remember reading that. So there's supposed to be Gene Stealer cults on Terra. And they're summoning more Tyranids that way. You'd have thought that they would have been able to get rid of all the Gene Stealer cults on Terra by now. Yeah, and every time the Tyranids devour a world, right, they add the biomass to their own. So they're kind of like they're kind of just always expanding, right? And they're very difficult to stop because you kill them on one world. If they take another world, then the one world that you killed them on was kind of inconsequential, right? I don't really buy that. Terra should be in total lockdown. Yeah, someone else said that they didn't buy the fact that there would be Gene Stealer cults on Terra. I think this was in a comment maybe on like the Warhammer community site where like they were like, you know, the Tyranids are coming because the Gene Stealer cults on Terra, and it's like you would have thought that they'd been able to get rid of all the cults on Terra. But who knows where there is to hide on Terra nowadays in the 44th millennium. The good old commander stumbled on your YouTube and glad to catch a stream. Good evening, Discipline X Machina. How are you? I'm glad you found the YouTube as well. A few people have said that. They're like stumbled onto the YouTube, and I'm like, well, I'm putting out Blood Angels videos every week. If you ever Google Blood Angels YouTube, surely I come up somewhere. So, it seems strange that like people still just like stumble on you, but saying that, right, like I've stumbled on a YouTuber before with like 1 million subscribers, And I'm like, wow, this guy has obviously been around for a while because he's got a million subscribers. I have never seen any of his videos before. So I guess it totally does happen. Sometimes you're just not looking on YouTube for a particular thing, I guess. The way I've set things up make me think that the High Fleet Towards Terror thing will be a centerpiece of 10th edition, and a lot of things are going to change, characters dying, etc. Well, I mean, I think they're obviously pushing for all Marines to be Primaris, right? They're not like stopping you use the old kits and stuff, but they are like, just look at their battle reports, like on Warhammer TV. Like they did a battle report with Blood Angels, and the only Blood Angels unit that wasn't Primaris that they used was the Sanguinary Guard, right? Just like everything else is Primaris. So while they're not like saying you can't use your old stuff, they are like pretty actively pushing that like you should be playing Primaris for whatever reason. Which is fine. I mean, I don't hate Primaris Marines. I'm sure most people don't hate Primaris Marines, but you do if you've got a large collection of Firstborn, you kind of want to just be able to use them, right? Like I'd be quite happy for them to release new Firstborn units as well as new Primaris units. Like, there's nothing to say. Let's say they introduce like a new squad or something that's Firstborn. It does something different than what we've had before. Like, I would be like, okay, cool. You know, like it doesn't. New stuff to me doesn't have to be Primaris. If they made Primaris Sanguinary Guard, would they still have jump packs? I think they'd need to have jump packs, or everybody still use Firstborn. I mean, that's the problem with Primaris Death Company, right? They made Primaris Death Company, but didn't give them jump packs, so nobody uses them. Like, the strength of Death Company is that they can get up the board in turn one, like with a pre-game move, and then make all these charges, and Primaris Death Company can't do that at all. They can make a 6-inch pre-game move, but it's not really strong enough, and they have the same amount of wounds as they have the same amount of wounds anyway as like a they have the same amount of wounds as a Firstborn Death Company, so why would you give up the jump pack? I mean, I guess the answer is you just wouldn't. If you're running Primaris Death Company and you're making them work, I'd love to hear from you in the chat or something. Because, I mean, I guess you can make them work, but to me it just feels like Primaris Death Company are kind of like an enigma, right? Like, you don't... What am I trying to say? You don't have any way to get across the board quickly with a Primaris Death Company, so why would you take them over Firstborn? Good evening, Mikey. I am doing well. You're playing Drukhari on Monday. Any advice? Yeah, I mean, you have to hide from Drukhari at the beginning of the game, because they'll have, I assume they're going to have like 5 or 6 raiders full of guys. Each raider has a Dark Glance, and that's like strength 8 minus 4 d3 plus 3 damage. And sometimes they can take a tactic that lets them reroll either the wound or the hit, so they're pretty reliable. So the Dark Glances will wreck anything they can see. The raiders also have really solid movement. I think it's like 14 inches of movement they can do as well. So it's really hard to hide from them, like with obscuring terrain, because they'll just move 14 inches, and those raiders have like bits of guns and stuff all sticking off them, so they can usually use something to get line of sight on you. So if you don't get to go first, I guess hope that you're deployed pretty obscuringly and well. If you do get to go first, then If you got something like Psychic Fortress, I would highly recommend you use that to protect as many units as you can, because the Drukhari shoot really effectively out with the raiders as well. They get like Trueborn and stuff in there that can just like, they don't suffer any to hit or wound penalties. Yeah, so what you need to do against Drukhari is you need to focus one raider or two raiders. I'd focus one to begin with and get it open as quickly as possible. And what I mean by get it open is I just mean kill it. Because if... Here's the thing, here's the tactic that they use, right? They will try and put the raider on a primary objective in your turn. If for some reason you manage to... Let's say you manage to kill the raider, all 10 like obsec units will spill out of it and obsec the objective away from you. Usually that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, if you don't have a balanced list and you have to kill them in melee, then you're kind of fucked. If you can kill them in the shooting phase and have another unit close by to charge anything that comes out of the raiders, then you can kind of make it work and you can kind of push on and win the game. If you do not have enough shooting to kill the raiders and you have to kill them in melee, if you don't have enough units to surround them so that when they disembark they all die, and I mean a raider is pretty difficult to to surround. I reckon you probably need like, I'd say you probably need like 10 or 12 models to surround a raider effectively and prevent disembarkation, which is a crazy number of models to need. So yeah, Drukhari are a tough one, Mikey, but open up the raiders before they come and sit on your objectives. If you've got 2 Redemptors, that's great. I'd focus fire, try and take the raiders down, like don't, because raiders don't get profiled either, I think, because they're like 9 wounds. So if they're on 1 wound, they can still shoot their Dark Lances really effectively. So you definitely want to try and focus fire a single raider and open them up, because once you kill what the units inside will be super easy to kill. If you've got, you're saying you've got Inceptors, if you've got Bolter Inceptors, they'll actually be really good as well, because the stuff inside is going to be like toughness 3, and they probably just have like a 5-up save. So if you can actually use like your heavy firepower to blow up the raiders and then everything has to spill out, that needs to be your tactic, because the only way he wins against you in close combat is if he gets to disembark the raider and then charge you. If you charge him, you usually kill enough, but I mean if he charges you inside the raiders, you can stuff like incubis and stuff. You can have some really nasty units inside, so you really need to kill his stuff in your shooting phase, so in your charge phase you can charge. And just remember, incubi do actually have some janky rule that like when you charge them, he can roll against your leadership, and if he beats your leadership then you fight last. So even if you make the charge, you could end up fighting last. So sometimes if you've got like 2 units that can make a charge, it might be worth doing just to kind of make sure you get to fight first if possible. I mean, I know it's not always possible, but it's just worth saying, right? Do you think the Bloody Angels will get a Templar-like refresh before or after this edition? I think it's well overdue. I think it is overdue, Jaeger. I think it's going to be next edition, honestly. It's kind of sad, but I just can't see it being this edition, because we already got our Codex this edition, right? And there's like loads more armies that need to there's loads more armies that need to get their rules. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't see. I'd love a Templar like refresh. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that we could definitely use like a lot. We could definitely use some love after what's, you know. Like, I don't think our Codex is the strongest it could be. That sort of thing. Like, it's okay. And I would love a Templar style refresh, but yeah, I just don't know if I see that happening this edition, based on the fact that just based on the fact that like there's too many other armies that still haven't had anything this edition, right? Thanks for the advice. You're more than welcome. Hey, good evening, Megatron 1993. How you doing? Blood Angels could feature in a campaign book. Yeah, okay, we could get something in a campaign book, but I don't know if it's... Has any of the other armies had new models in a campaign book? We might get like an Army of Renown or something, or is it just Army of Renown they call it? But like, I don't know. I saw Games Workshop's priorities, who knows what they are. I would like some new stuff, don't get me wrong, I would love some new stuff. I just don't know. I just don't get the feeling that like we're top of the priority list for them right now. So I guess we'll see. But I think it would be better if we got like a Templar style refresh, because I don't know if any of our characters are super great anymore. Even our Primaris Mephiston isn't that great, I think. So I think possibly what might be better is if they just... like, they just do a refresh where it's like, alright, we're going to refresh all your characters. Because all of them could probably use it, right? I'm painting this little teleport Homer for this tournament as well. I don't know if you have to have 3 colours on a teleport Homer, but I've got it now. Primaris Dante has no jump back, no action, no infernal pistol. So what does he have then, Miguel? Because it doesn't sound like he's got a lot. I have a feeling there'll be an Octarius style book with updates for Blood Angels. Well, if there is, I'll be very happy. Because I think that our army has definitely deserves a little bit more than what it got, I feel like. Are the future armies tweaked a bit in campaign books? I'm not sure if the army themselves are tweaked a bit, but I think you can run them in like special detachments to get some extra rules, because I believe that's how Colin was running his Death Guard, in that like he was able to put them in another detachment that let them, like, I think they were able to deep strike like Plague Marines. It was almost like in this detachment there were special rules because there was a battle fought on a specific planet with these special rules, and the special rules are, you know, like, you don't need X, Y, and Z building. Just at this weekend, everybody's allowed to upgrade such and such, or something like that. What do you think we'll see for the Primaris range in future? Jump pack Marines, Terminators, and/or Flyers. Well, they did release those 3 gladiators, which I guess are the speeders. Well, they're not really lance. No, they released those speeders. They were called like hammer strikes, and they also released the gladiators. So I think, and I guess technically we already have dreadnoughts in the Redemptor. So what would be good would be just a fast-moving melee unit. I'm really surprised we haven't seen that yet. Like, Blade Guard with jump packs. They'd be pretty great. I mean, Blade Guard already get more attacks than Sanguinary Guard if you break it down, because the Sergeant gives the +1. So, like, I kind of don't know why they haven't done Blade Guard with jump packs or something of that nature. I mean, I guess you can shove your Blade Guard into a impulsor, but like I think I would rather the fact that they're like they would have jump packs, you know. In the interest of fairness, I'm happy to wait. Poor elder players and all the fine cast they still have to endure. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I think we may have to wait a little bit, because there's too many other armies that still haven't had much, I guess, in 9th edition. Or maybe they've had like a points cost change, but that's it. So I feel like they probably have to address those before they come back and address Blood Angels. I hate the drip feeding of rules we get now with the campaign rules. We should get all the army rules, and the Codex and campaign expansions should be for specific battles and events. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of how they're dishing out the rules at the moment, to be honest, Liam. But, you know, thanks for bringing that up. I think that what would be good would be that they use like Warhammer Plus, like the app, to like give like more regular updates on points costs and rules. So it's like we could get away from the need of codexes. Like you can still buy a codex if you want, or you can still buy like a Battlezone book if you want, but like I think that the rules for that stuff should be like just digital, because some of these rules barely change, and then a good example this year was like chapter approved, right? Like everybody bought chapter approved 2021. There was one change in all the missions, so there's like 8 missions in that book, or there's 8 missions for 2,000 points grand tournament. And thank you so much for following Megatron, I appreciate that. There's 8 missions in the chapter approved book, right? And 7 of them, I believe, are the same missions from last year. So like probably everybody in this channel has chapter approved. If we go worldwide, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people who have chapter approved 2021, and like there was no difference in the missions, which is kind of primarily what you use that book for. So if there's no difference in the missions, or like difference in one mission, why was that not just communicated like on the website? Because how many trees had to get cut down? And it's very topical at the moment with like the summit going on about like world global warming and stuff. You know, like Warhammer is a game where like people have a lot of rules, people have a lot of books, but we also now we're in a great place where there's a digital service that has all the rules and stuff that you could need just right there on your phone, and you always have your phone when you're playing the game, or you would 90% of the time have your phone with you, so you should just be able to quickly look up and check. And does that not save like a shitload of trees being cut down? Like, yes, you have to pay the $4.99 a month for the app or whatever for Warhammer Plus, but if it meant that they could do it better and they didn't have to do codexes, would that not be a better thing? Not just for people's wallets, but also for the planet and stuff as well, which, let's be real, like, the planet is important. I guess people just don't care about it enough, but it is pretty important. I think the thing that I would say in regards to all that would be like, so this edition I've bought the Blood Angels Codex and the Space Marine Codex, and they're the only 2 codexes I've bought. So, and they're the only 2 I'm going to buy. So Games Workshop have a maximum from me of like $30, right? Because like I bought 2 books. But if everything was digital and it was all like, it was actually getting updated reasonably timely, like, you know, so like when an army list comes out and it's super broken, like Andrew's Orcs, we don't have to wait 6 months for like a points increase for those models. They just get balanced like much quicker. and it's all in the app, but you have to pay whatever it is, the $4.99 a month in the app. I think that would be much better. I really do. The app would probably need to be improved though, because I've heard a lot of people saying, like I find it as well, the searching for specific things in the app, it's not very good, is it? It's difficult to find things sometimes, and yeah, I think the app would just probably need to be improved quite a bit, I guess. GW definitely don't care about our wallets. My eyes are super dry tonight. I refuse to buy chapter approved 2021. After I bought 2020, it should have been a PDF update. Yes, I mean that's what I was saying. Like, do you know what? I've got chapter approved here, right? And it's 2 books, isn't it? I might only have one of them here, but where is it? This book is 90 pages, 96 pages, and literally it's the same book as last year. So I don't know how many trees, or I imagine maybe like half a tree. Like how many A4, how many trees do you need to kill to make 90 pages of A4, you know? Hey Blood Jesus Commander, I watched your match against the Speedwag and I'm playing a similar list with new Speed Freaks rules next week. You played a less optimized list when you beat the Orcs. If you were to tailor your list to beat them, what would you run? More anti-tank. The Orcs, that Orc list isn't particularly good against tanks, right? And well, it's just not particularly good against anything that's got more than toughness 6, right? Because the buggies that do the 2 wounds are the big deal, right? The buggies do 2 wounds. The buggies are strength 5 minus 2. So if you're toughness more than 5, then you only wound you on 5s. And if you're -1 damage like a dreadnought, then you half their damage output as well. So dreadnoughts with more than toughness 5 are amazing against those buggies, Tark. So I would take shitloads more dreadnoughts, and also the scrap jets only have 24-inch range. So if you can take weapons that give you more than 24 inches of range, for example Volkite Contemptors, then he can't even shoot back at you. So I mean, if I was going to tailor to play against those buggies, I'd probably run like 3 Volkite Contemptors and 3 Redemptors or something like that. Start the Volkite Contemptors right at the back of the board so they're totally out of range of the buggies, and just know that every single turn the Volkite Contemptors are going to kill, each one will kill a buggy probably. So over the course of a game, those 3 Volkite Contemptors can kill like 15 buggies and he can't even shoot back at you. I actually think that, I've said to Andrew, I think his Speed Freaks list is one-dimensional. I think if you only take 1 or 2 unit types in your army, you make your list one-dimensional, right? Like, imagine if Redemptors could come in squads of 3 for some dumb reason, like the Orc buggies come in squads of 3, and you could just take, you know, like, Redemptors can now be in squads of 3, so you could just take 9 Redemptors. I mean, I think against some lists 9 Redemptors is going to do brilliant, but against some it's just going to be crap because you've got no plan B, right? You've put everything on plan A. And I guess that's one of the things with my list, and I think it was one of the things I was saying in this like tactics video this week, is like, my list is designed where, like, if the enemy go after my melee units, then my shooting units will do work throughout the game, and if the enemy go after my shooting units, then the melee units will do work. And I think, you know, like, I think you need a plan B in your list, because not every battle is going to go the way you want it to go or the way like you expect it to go. So by sort of only taking 1 or 2 units, you like pigeon yourself. And I think that's pretty much what I said on this week's tactics video. Is like, you just want to be varied, I think. But yeah, I think dreadnoughts against the buggies are probably pretty good. I commented in the GW survey that they had to move to digital. They can still make collectors hardbacks, and the rules need to go digital in this day and age. It's a very good point, Highland Phoenix. I was actually thinking of making a video on that very topic. And just that would be my feedback for the survey. Just throw together like a 5-10 minute video on like GW's 2020 player feedback survey. Do you think people would like that video, or do you think it'd be stupid to make it? I imagine Codex sales make up a huge amount of profits. I think that they make probably more profit on the models, because if look at this, for example, right? This 3D printed Contemptor from somebody at home with a shitty 3D printer. And I mean, maybe Andrew's 3D printer is good comparatively, but when I say shitty, like his 3D printer probably costs like, I think it costs like £500-600. So Andrew has, let's say, a entry level 3D printer, and he can make this for $5, right? And it wasn't just this; it was this plus both the weapons. Plus, he made me like a claw and some other weapon options as well for $5. So, if someone can 3D print something like this for £5, if GW have all the molds, you know, like obviously they made the mold for a Contemptor Dreadnought, and they can just pour and make the molds. I imagine they could probably make like a Dreadnought for like £2 or £3, right? And then they're selling them for like, well, in the Forge World case, they're selling them for like 38, 40, right? So, I don't know if they need to make a lot of money off Codex. All I've heard is a way to take more Dreadnoughts than I'm sold, says Dex. I forgot that you just love your Dreadnoughts so much. I still think if you could take 15 of the same use that as an example, right? You could take 15 of the same Dreadnought in one list, or you could take 5 of 3 different Dreadnoughts. Regardless how good those 15 are, I would always take 5 of, you know, because I think it just doing one thing will always leave some sort of weakness. And yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't like. Plus, yeah, I really don't actually think. I think that orc list makes, as good as it is against some armies, it's going to make it very difficult for him to beat other armies. Are there lists that go against what is in canon, like units that are okay in the table but not fitting in narrative? That's just the thing, I suppose, right? Like, it's kind of the other way around, Jaeger Ballman. Like, as a Blood Angels player, like, a lot of people will probably tell you to, like, only take melee units. Like, only take units with jump packs, and, like, don't take any heavy support or anything like that. But in the lore, like, if you go read Devastation of Baal, you know, like, the Blood Angels have Predator tanks all over the walls, and I think it said some of those Predators had, like, the double las cannons, so they're not even Baal Predators, they're just straight up Predators and stuff. So in the lore, it's almost like the chapters will use everything that's available to them. But on the tabletop, and when you talk to people about the game, they'll kind of like say like, oh, this chapter should only be doing this because this is the best. And I'm hoping I can place highly at this GT next week. I'd love to win it. I don't know if I can win it, but I will try my damnedest. Because I don't know, I feel like I would gain a bit of credibility on the channel if we won a GT with my sort of like non-all melee list, because yeah, or even if I just finished like top 3 or something, I suppose that would be good as well. It would just be a topical video that could get a wider audience. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one of the things to do, you know, it's a strange one, Highland Phoenix. Sometimes it's nice to get that wider audience videos out there, but at the same time, like I do just have my core Blood Angels followers now, so kind of what we do here is for them, I guess. I think proper orc lists will only struggle with Dark Angels, honestly, no offense, but I don't think the one you played was very hard. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. The one that I played was... There's too many of the same unit types, D-King, and it's brilliant. Like, the orc list is brilliant against armies of just 2 wound marines. Like, that is really strong against them. But, I don't think it works. Yeah, I don't think it's super strong against some certain armies, and I obviously kind of have figured out how to beat it. And it's a tough game for me to win because it does have a lot of firepower, right? Those Rucka trucks get like a ridiculous amount of shots. If you get in half range of them, and we kind of have to be in half range of them as a Blood Angels player because we need to be charging stuff. It is very difficult, but you're right. I don't think it's the strongest orc army. When was the last time you've taken DC Dread? 3 years, 4 years, 8 years. Are you asking me when the last time I took a Death Company Dread was? I took one against Andrew in... maybe right at the start of 9th edition. Before they lowered them from like a 6-inch move to an 8-inch move, I had a Death Company Dread in my list. And I had it with the double Blood Talons. But I think Blood Talons were better back then because I think they let you reroll the hits and the wounds. I don't remember. When do you think 10th edition is likely to happen? Probably not next year, but the year after, Daryl. Have you any thoughts about going to No Retreat in Gibraltar some year? Is No Retreat... is that not invite only? Is that not what that is? That's a tournament that's going on right now for charity, right? That Valrak and all that, like Tabletop Titans and everybody's at, or am I wrong? Because if it is that tournament, then if it's invite only, then I mean, I have no idea how I get an invite. I guess I need more subscribers and probably need to win some tournaments so people think I'm decent. Thoughts on the Contemptor over the Redemptor? I think both are good, Stephen. I've been running Redemptors on my lists now. In the last tournament I played, I ran 2 Redemptors. However, this tournament I'm running 2 Contemptors and 1 Redemptor. I think both are good still. I think the Contemptors are probably slightly undercosted for what they can do. Probably not much, probably like 10 or 15 points undercosted if you've got them with the Volkite cannons on, which is what I'm running, and it's what I'm bringing into the GT next week, and it's why I'm putting some colours on this guy tonight, so that like when we go to the GT next week, I don't get docked any points for not having 3 colours. Technically, this guy has 3 colours on him now. He kind of has 4 or 5, but he's not going to be finished, but he'll have enough paint on him where I won't get docked any points. Going to get into the zone, Blood Angels Commander. Keep hydrated and 100% focus. Score deny until the win. He needs to get something to block, like Warbikers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think going 3 of any unit, maybe except like attack bikes, is a great idea in any list, I guess. Because you kind of start forcing yourself to only have one way to play, right? And I guess, like Andrew's list, definitely there is only one way for him to play, because he's got 9 Rucka trucks, which is like 1,000 points, and then the other 1,000 points are just those scrap jets, and it kind of make, when you have that many of just 1 or 2 units, it kind of makes, like I said, it doesn't give you a plan B, and also it kind of makes it obvious for your opponent. Like, your opponent kind of knows what you're going to do, and that's one of the reasons that I think I went off the always be charging list, because if if you have an always be charging list, your opponent knows what you're going to do every turn, right? No Retreat was invite only. No Retreat Legends was invite only. No Retreat was a general tournament. Anyone can go. You have to apply though. All right. I actually have a friend from university who lives in Gibraltar Arc Royal. Valrak isn't very good and got invited, says D King. Is it more that Valrak just makes thematic lists as opposed to him not being very good? Because I looked at his list and I thought that like his list was as far from meta as you possibly can get. So maybe it's not that he's bad, maybe it's just he takes lists that are just not meta and everybody else takes meta lists, and if everyone's taking meta lists and you're not, then you're gonna have a bad day, right? But you know, I have a friend in Gibraltar, so I've never actually been to Gibraltar, but maybe I could swing it one year. I'm about to have a second baby. My wife's like 33 weeks pregnant or something like that. So next year is going to be pretty difficult for me to do tournaments in general. I mean, I could do something next year, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with a 1-year-old for an entire day, dude, but it's fucking hard work. And like I try not to take the piss with my wife, right? Like I try and help her out. Just because I know how difficult it is to deal with a 1-year-old, I guess. My current daughter's 2, so we're gonna have a 2-year-old and we'll have a 0-year-old, and leaving my wife to take care of them for the whole weekend alone. It's not like she'd do it if I asked her, but at the same time, like shit, I'm okay. I don't want to take the piss and do it. Yeah, I mean, there's no two ways about it. I just don't want to do it. It's so probably next year I won't be at any tournaments unless they're super local. But maybe the year after we'll get to some tournaments a little bit further afield. What's the best way to make a captain on a bike model? I mean, you need to find yourself some attack bikes, I guess. The way that you can do it is if you find an attack bike is you can sort of, from the waist up, use Death Company parts. So, or like Vanguard Veteran parts, or even Sanguinary Guard parts, but you need to find yourself like a regular Space Marine biker, which isn't the easiest thing to find, honestly. I bought one on eBay. Do you think there's any topping Devastation of Baal? It was a massive climax. Also, Tyranids are more compelling villains than Chaos. I mean, if the guy, I think it's Gav Thrope that wrote Devastation of Baal, and he wrote Darkness in the Blood as well, right? Like, I think if he writes another book, I mean, maybe he can top it. Like, I feel like it's toppable. But yeah, who knows? Who knows where the story is going next? You know, everybody's always wanting to see like Dante go become Primaris and see how that story goes. So maybe, you know, maybe if that is the plan for the future of Blood Angels and the future of like that story arc where Dante becomes Primaris, maybe it's toppable. I want to try the Contemptors with double heavy plasma on the Contemptors, like the last cannons with 40 points cheaper. I have heavy plasmas, D King, but honestly, the Volkite cannons, are far too good. They're so undercosted. They're going to do better than the plasmas. Keenan Purcell, thank you so much for subscribing, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, the Volkite Contemptors are far too good. They're like 5 points, and each one can do. Well, I had one with 2 Volkite Contemptors this week. I did 7 mortal wounds, and 7 mortal wounds also means that I rolled like 7 6s on the wound roll. So he has to take 7 saves that are 2 damage, and then he takes 7 mortal wounds as well. In that case, I actually think I wounded him 10 times. So 1 Volkite Contemptor for 150 points can do 27 wounds in a turn. And 7 of them are mortal wounds. Those things are so good. I mean, I like the plasma on the Redemptor, don't get me wrong. I've been running the Redemptor with the plasma. It's been a core part of like my lists that are... So I've had like 2 lists now that have gone on massive win streaks in 9th edition. Well, I actually have 3, but... So list 1 was the list that had the super heavy tank in it, and I've played that list 10 times, or I've played with super heavy tank 10 times and I've won 10 games. I also, just before chapter approved, had a list that had the 2 Redemptors in it. This was a list that had the Sanguinary Priest. I don't think it had the Tet Marine. And that list was on like a, I think it was like a 13 or 14 game win streak. And the only reason that we had to stop that win streak was because chapter approved came out and put all the points costs up, and I couldn't keep running the list. That list was undefeated. And generally, like, I really enjoyed that list. It had Centurions in it, and it was just... You know, it just had a little bit of everything, and it gelled really nicely, and I loved that list. And I probably would still be playing it because it never got defeated, but, you know, it had the Redemptors with the Plasma Cannons, and the Plasma Cannon and the Redemptor is basically the same as the Plasma Cannon on the Contemptor. If you think about it, the Contemptor is like 2d3, right, if you put a Plasma on both arms, and the Redemptor's like d6, so the difference in the number of shots is pretty minute, I guess. Slightly more reliability in the Contemptor, but you have to pay 1 CP for that Contemptor, and I don't think it's good enough to justify the 1 CP, whereas like the ones with the Volkite Contemptors, they're just so good. You know, and another example was like a few weeks ago, like I had my Redemptor fire at Sacrosancts, like, you know, the sisters Sacrosancts that have the 2-up save because they've got the Storm Shield, and like I was pushing them onto decent saves, right, because like I'm hitting them with a plasma, I'm hitting them with the Onslaught Cannon in turn 1, which is -2. But you shoot the whole Redemptor at them and you kill like 1 or 2 Sacrosancts. You shoot 1 Volkite Contemptor at them, you get 7 mortal wounds and make them take 10 2-up saves. Like, if you have to take 10 2-up saves, tell me how many you're going to fail. At least 1, I would say, right? Possibly 2. I mean, the odds say if you have to take 10 2-up saves, you're going to fail like 1.6. So the Redemptor kills like 2 Sacrosancts, maybe 3 if he's lucky. The Volkite Contemptor kills 9 of them. If he's a bit lucky, maybe it just wipes the squad, you know? So the Volkites on these Contemptors are they're undercosted, to be brutally honest. I expect at some point when they do like a points cost update for Imperial Armor, I think the Volkite Contemptors need to go up 10 points per arm, and that's why I didn't buy one, because I didn't want to spend £100 on the model for it to go up and be completely useless. But I think that's probably what needs to happen. So this is why I got Andrew to 3D print me one. Okay, but I never roll 7 mortals. Do you know what? The game on Monday night against Orcs is a good example, because one time I shot the Contemptor, shot all 16 shots, and I rolled 0 mortals. And another time in the same game, I shot all 16 shots and rolled 7 mortals. So I guess the point is that even if you average that out, then basically every single time the Contemptor shoots, you get 3.5, 4 mortals. I mean, bear in mind, I'm kind of always buffing my Contemptors, right? I'm always either giving them Chapter Master rerolls, or I'm giving them +1 to hit off the Tet Marine. And I think if you do that, like, there's a lot of value in that. Like, I highly recommend you bring something that can help buff with the Contemptors. I think it's... I don't think it's core, per se, but I think it's very worthwhile. But I should have probably mentioned on Monday this week, the normal Monday night live game is possibly going to be delayed to Tuesday night. I have some personal stuff that has to happen on Monday, so I don't think I'll be back in time in the evening to play a game. So based on that, I think probably if we do a live game this week, I think it'll be a rematch against Andrew's buggies again. And obviously the tournament lists have now been submitted, so Andrew has his tournament buggy list ready. Space Marines don't need more nerfs. Yeah, okay. I mean, you're probably right, Space Marines don't need more nerfs, but I guess Volkites are arguably one of the strongest things that we can field. I'd say they're the I think they're the strongest dreadnought we can field at the moment, the Volkite Contemptors. I really do. They might be a little bit swingy, but they can just, over the course of a game, if they're ignored, they'll typically do more damage than I think any other shooting unit we could field. Which is a little bit sad because it's nice to have options when you're making your army list, but if you're just looking for what is strongest, what is going to do the most damage, then for me it's 100% the Volkite Contemptor, I guess. I will be back tomorrow for the live show as normal, so it'll just be the... It'll just be the Monday night show that will probably go out on Tuesday, I imagine. It was pretty fun to roll 7 mortal wounds on the Contemptor in a single round of shooting, though. What's my opinion on the Redemptor? I have a Redemptor on my tournament list. Up until the last tournament I was at, I actually ran 2 Redemptors on my tournament list, and I think Zitor, I think is how you say your name. I've not seen you in the chat before, but welcome. Thanks for coming in and asking the question. I think the best way you can run the Redemptors is Macroplasma Cannon, Onslaught Cannon, Storm Bolters, and I guess the rocket pods are optional. But in the tournament that I went to recently, I actually did really well with Blood Angels, and a big part of that success, or a big part of that list, was 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. In my list, I like to back them up with a Librarian running Psychic Mastery, which gives them the 5-up Invulnerable save. Psychic Mastery with Psychic Fortress. So Psychic Mastery makes it easier for you to cast your powers. Psychic Fortress is what gives you the 5-up Invulnerable save. My bad. Brent George, you have 80 Black Rage points. This Dreadnought has a lot of little intricate markings on him, which is fine sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know what colour I'm supposed to do these bits. Like, are these look like they would... Oh shoot, don't paint green on them. These look like they would be a different colour. I don't think gold. Maybe I'll paint this bit silver next. I've got some green paint on my palette. I'm trying to decide if I need to paint anything green. Maybe these sections? I'll try it. Hey Liam Powell. I'm sure you've subscribed before, Liam. But thanks for subscribing anyway. I don't know why it would. Sometimes YouTube does bug and unsubscribe you from channels, so. Or sometimes you just, you know, maybe you decided you don't like me and you unsubscribed and you're like, okay, I'll give him another chance. But appreciate the subscription anyway. Can supersonic flyers get the benefit of light cover? One of my games recently had a blood axe Dakaja 18 inches away and he claimed one to the save. Yeah, but isn't that's part of the... That's not so much light cover as part of the actual rules for blood axes, is it not? I thought blood axes got +1 to their save if they're more than 18 inches away, and that does work on vehicles. But I guess, like, it's more the fact that, like, there's a specific rule giving them the bonus as opposed to, like, I don't think you could put them in cover. I don't think you could have put, like, a Storm Raven in cover and been like, you get +1 to your save. It uses the word light cover in the book, though. And what does Wikipedia say about light cover? I actually don't know. Let me check. Light cover. When an attack is made with a ranged weapon in a model that is receiving the benefits from this terrain feature, add 1 to the saving throw made against the attack. There's nothing to say like it can only be infantry or planes or anything like that. I guess they get +1 to their save. I think that's valid. I mean, I can show you on my screen what I'm reading. Oh, wrong button. Here, this section about light cover. Do you see that? So if the book says he gains light cover, then I guess he gets +1 to his save. Yeah, I think it's valid. I mean, it's not... It's a bit weird that they get that and other factions or races just wouldn't ever be able to get light cover on an aircraft, but yeah, orcs are a bit broken at the moment, are they? They're almost just a little bit too strong, I think. Vehicles benefit from cover or not is based on the type of the terrain, not the actual wording of light cover. If a death company could take lightning claws, would be an auto take. I don't know if they'd be an auto take. The problem with death company, it's not necessarily the weapons, it's the fact they can't fall back or do actions, I think, is a problem with them. Because sometimes there's fights that you know you're not going to win, and if you fall back the units, you can maybe keep them alive and you can go perform some actions later in the game or something like that. And like that's just not it's just not an option for Death Company at all, I guess. And then the other thing that I don't like about the Death Company, it's just kind of like their points cost at the moment. I've been playing a competitive orc link recently that relies on Canon Wagons out of Imperial armor. They're so good. I haven't actually seen any Canon Wagons. Good evening, Lord Lethargic. How are you doing? Yeah, it's a pity because I used to run the Death Company like every battle. I ended up painting one of my Redemptor's Death Company colours just because like I needed something in my army that would like represent the Death Company. because I don't have any. So I painted a Redemptor Death Company colours, and people always ask, they're like, cool, are Contemptor Dreadnoughts an auto take? Yes. You mean with the Volkite coverings, right, Brandon? They're just very good against a lot of different situations. I missed the bolt gun and chainsword combination for Death Company. Yeah, do you know what? Most of my Death Companies still have bolt guns on them. I spent a lot of time converting them to have bolt guns and chainswords, so when they changed it back to they can only have bolt pistols, I'm just keeping them with bolt guns and chainswords. I don't know. If I ended up using them in a tournament, I'd just tell my opponent, look, all the bolt guns are bolt pistols, because GW screwed me here on it. I've been working on cleaning up my Blood Angels Contemptor, and I'm probably going to glue it together in the next few days. Nice, 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 nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this tournament with 2 Contemptors. I just had to get enough colours on this guy where he didn't look like he'd just been sprayed red and had no... So in terms of base colours, he's getting there. He's at least got some... He's got enough base colours on him where he'll be fine for the tournament. And I guess I've got some colours on the gun as well, so... yeah, I mean, I think there's... Oh, actually, there's 4 colours on the gun as well. Yeah, there'll be enough. There'll be enough for this guy in this tournament where I won't lose tournament points. Yeah, the Volkites, that's exactly what I'm painting at the moment. I'm doing 4 Volkite cannons. It's very good. Al Slatiny1, good morning. How you doing? Do you think it's odd that the Primaris line has so many vehicles with stubbers? I thought stubbers were considered primitive, inferior, or something, only PDF or cultists. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know why Primaris vehicles have a bunch of stubbers on them. I guess it was just like they just wanted a different profile than regular bolters slightly or something. It really beats me why they've got so many stubbers on them. Iron Tail heavy stubbers, add a stubber. And in some ways the stubbers are actually better than bolt guns, right? Because they're like -1 AP. But I don't rate Primaris vehicles overall, Sean. I don't think, apart from Redemptor Dreadnoughts, I don't know if I own any Primaris vehicles. Oh, I own a Repulsor and an Impulsor. But I don't think I've ever used... Do you know, I've used both of them, but so sparingly. Like, I just don't rate either of them. Canon Wagon has even more. So Canon Wagon is a bit like a Rucker Truck, but better, is it? Let me have a look. This is going to be some other really broken orc unit, isn't it? Canon Wagon, let's see. What does a Canon Wagon even look like? Alright, something like this. Canon Wagon, okay. 170 points. Strength 8, toughness 7, 16 wounds. Fucking hell, 3+. Open top, so anything inside can shoot out of it. Each time a model is made with the super cannon, add 1 to the attacker's hit roll, so you get +1 to hit on the weapon skill 5. You're getting heavy 2d6, strength 8, -2, 3 damage. Wow, that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. This model can also be equipped with up to 3 big shooters, so you can also get like 15 Daka shots out at 36. You can also fill it up with models as well, and there's no additional, like there is -1 damage as well against less than strength 8 because it's ramshackle, obviously, and there's no additional -1. Oh, the big shooters are free as well? Oh, what the oh my god, yeah, I mean, like, these make Rucker Trucks look like they're trash. I mean, the points... What are the points on a rocket truck? I mean, I guess... Alright, so it's heavy in its blast, so I guess the one advantage of the rocket truck, I guess, is its assault. So if you... But, I mean, it's 60 inches, so you don't need to move. And it's 3 damage, yeah, these things are like Blade Guard veteran killers, aren't they? Or Terminator killers. I don't know why they made the indirect fire for orcs so strong. Because, like, when you compare the indirect fire for orcs against, like, a whirlwind, the orcs' indirect fire is just so much better, and all their models are -1 damage because they're ramshackle. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't feel like it makes a whole lot of sense to me, honestly. But thanks for sharing this. I'll share this with Andrew and be like, why the hell did you not take Canon Wagons? Oh, but they're not indirect fire. Okay. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, they're not indirect fire. I missed that. But still, 60 inches. "60 inches just means park yourself at the back of the board and be totally safe. Every turn you do this much damage, you know? It's pretty scary." Canon Wagons, huh? Orcs definitely got some love this edition, I'll tell you that. I like the Hammer Strike with Melt-Up, but only for a more chill narrative game. It's a pretty model. The other Primaris vehicles are dull as fuck. I actually like some of the new Primaris models. Like you said, like the Hammer Strike and that. I like the look of them. I kind of want to buy one just because, you know, it's a Space Marine thing, and obviously we do Space Marines on this channel. So I kind of want to buy one just because it would be strange to not ever buy one. But yeah, I don't think they're really nearly as competitive as they could be, I guess. Which is maybe okay. You know, like, not everything needs to be super competitive, but like, I would have liked to use some of those new speeders and stuff. But yeah, it just feels like they're not where they need to be yet, I guess. I run 3 Canon Wagons, 4 rocket trucks, 2 jacket jets, 2 truck boys, 1 speed boss guy, and 2 squigosaurs. And commandos and 2 storm boys. Going to a tournament next weekend with my Blood Angels, though my orcs are nowhere near painted. Nice. What tournament are you off to next weekend? I'm off to a tournament next weekend. Where are you from, Matic? But yeah, my Blood Angels painting has been a bit all over the place. What with the house move, but hopefully it'll get back to where it was before. What a lot of stress it is moving house, I'll tell you that. I kind of want a Hammerfall bunker, but given how appallingly bad they are, yeah, I mean, I don't know why they made... If a Hammerfall bunker was released today, Dex, it would be so overpowered and broken. It's just the problem with being one of the first things in the new edition, I guess. Hopefully next time round we don't get our Codex straight away. Like, we have to wait a little while for it, because the people that had to wait, I feel like, got a much better deal than that. Alright, I'm starting to make a lot of mistakes. I was tired at the beginning of this stream, guys. I am very tired now. I got a little bit done. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for the army list show. Let me tell you who's up tomorrow for the armies. Desktop lists. Alright, tomorrow we have Jamie Waits, Sellers, Bergener, Benno, and Martin Wastelbauer. So that is our 4 lists for tomorrow's army list show, and that'll be live at like 4 o'clock UK time tomorrow. I took out this white paint and I've forgotten why I even took it out now, but it's fine. We've got enough colours on this guy. Like, I think he would be totally valid for the tournament. Like, I won't get a penalty for fielding him, so that's fine. Maybe I have to do a tiny bit of painting on some of these Terminators before the tournament, but I'll try and get another stream in this week or something, so you guys will be able to catch like the final pre-tournament stream, and I might. Yeah, I'm not entirely. I might do that video about the survey as well. It's not a big one, just a local RTT in Somerset, 15ish people. It's my second one. Okay, cool. Well, good luck, Matic. Bring glory to the Blood Angels. I have a tournament the same week, so weekend, so I'll be trying to bring some glory to the Blood Angels. You should definitely join the Discord if you haven't already, and we can talk about that there. Yeah, the Hammerfall bunker doesn't have deep strike, and also because you only position it once. And I think you have to position it 3 inches from all terrain as well, because it's fortification. So that actually makes it really difficult to even deploy it, if I'm correct, Dex. I like the Hammerfall bunker, but yeah, I mean, I haven't bought a whole heap of the new Primara stuff. If it's not competitive, I don't buy it. That's why I bought these Infiltrators. I'm going to try and make some of these this week, I think. I like Infiltrators. But I'm going to make these guys as Incursors. And then you're looking to buy a new house in the next few months. I expect nothing for bit chaos. Yeah. They say moving is the most stressful thing you can do, and I don't think we've even found, like, we're at the point now where we've been living in the house for like 2 or 3 weeks, and if I need something, I'm just like, ask my wife. I was like, have you seen this item of clothing? Because I can't find it anywhere. Okay, thank you. Have you seen such and such? Because I can't find it anywhere. Have you seen such and such? And that's where our life is right now. It's just like, I don't know where half my stuff is. When would Infiltrators have blue helmets? I did my Infiltrators with black helmets. I don't think they would ever have blue helmets, because blue helmets is heavy support technically, but I mean, they wouldn't have black helmets either. I just did black helmets because I saw an Ultramarine player had done his Infiltrators with black helmets, and he kind of said to me, I was like, the reason I gave them black helmets was they're like special forces sort of, like, you know, like almost like they're commandos or special ops or something. And I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. I like that. And rather than just give them red helmets, I gave them the black ones. And I thought it looked pretty good. I was pleased with it. I can show you one if you want just before I log off here. But that is kind of going to be the end of tonight's stream. And then I will be back tomorrow afternoon to do the Army List show. And then Monday night this week will be slightly different, in that there won't be anything, I think, on Monday night, but it should be maybe Tuesday, and it'll be a rematch. Yeah, okay. Let me grab a black helmeted Infiltrator. Alright, here is a black helmeted Infiltrator. I just gave them a, like, I use the Fenrisian grey for edge highlighting on black. So I just give them a very simple edge highlight around the But yeah, no, I thought that they look quite cool, like with the black helmets, just special ops or something. Slightly different. I mean, it's not technically right, I guess, but it's something that I wanted to do, I guess. I thought they looked cool on someone else's. So yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about Warhammer, is give your army the identity you want them to have. So if you think something looks cool, then no one can tell you it's not cool. Do it yourself. No, thank you for hanging out, Asylum, Matic, Arkan, Jaegerbomb, Dex, everyone that was here in the chat. D-King, I appreciate you all guys being here. Yeah, Mike's right. It's your models, paint them how you wish. So if you want blue helmets on your infiltrators, go for it. If you want to copy me and go black, I would be honoured. I think they are very cool with black. We can start a thing. I'm going to do black helmets on my Inceptors. Yeah, I mean, I don't... Does black maybe mean that they're also... Maybe like when you get a black helmet, it's like the chaplain's like, maybe this guy's got the black rage, but I ain't sure. So we just give him a black helmet so I know to keep an eye on him. Maybe it also means that or something. I don't know. Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon, hopefully, and if not, later in the week. I actually did the whole squad black, and how I did my sergeants was I usually try and pick the helmets that have the wreaths on them, and then I do the wreath screen on. I did my infiltrators in black armor with red helmets, says Brandon. That's cool as well. These guys are a bit dodgy. Yeah, exactly. They just got the black helmet. We keep an eye on them. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Peace.